episode 1005.
Hi, friends.
Hello. Welcome. How's Lou?
Oh, I am good. I will say I'm, sad to be home. I went and visited my mom in Costa Rica. That was magical and wonderful.
Yeah, Pura Vida.
Yep, Pura Vida. I'm sad because I came home to what I can only describe as dead bodies everywhere. All of my plants. I probably lost, I think I have like 10 casualties. And
Shut up. What happened?
And some big ones. Like,
I don't understand.
Because I added that trip on to see my mom, and I watered everybody for like 5 days, but I was gone for like 10 days and maybe a little more. And I mean, even just look at this poor guy. Everybody's looking.
Well, that guy's not dead.
He didn't come back. He's not dead. This is not one of the dead ones.
Yeah.
There's hope for some of them, but on some, I have the beautiful vines everywhere. I got to do a big chop on a couple because the leaves fell, and some of them I was just like, it was the.
I can only
have
imagine,
a fiddle leaf tree.
I know you do.
Every leaf fell off. I have to cut. I have to start. There are 3 hanging on.
Oh,
You saw what it looked like before. It's fine. It's fine.
Lush.
It's fine because I'm just going to. You know what? It's fine. Whatever. We'll get.
Oh my God, she's gonna to everything.
Yes.
Turn.
And I would try to tell myself, you are caring for other animals and things that are also alive, so you can't be mad at yourself for these things that are struggling right now because you can't take care of everything all the time.
I'm really sorry about your plans.
So
though.
yeah, that was the one thing.
What percentage of the 10 are RIP versus in the intensive care unit? Because we have an intensive care unit.
I have an
here.
intensive care. There are a couple in the intensive care unit. I would say there are 5 or 6 that just didn't make it.
They had a good run.
Yeah, I have some like ivy on my wall. That
any green whatsoever, there is hope.
Right. There's hope, and life finds a way. So I've realized that if you do the big chop, just like your hair grows out better, like you do that. I've done that before. Okay, we're just cutting it and starting fresh. This is everybody's getting the big chop, and I've been saying to myself, I gotta like change the soil and do some work on some of these, and I've been dragging my feet for a while because I'm like, wait till spring, wait till. This is just, I got to do that. Everybody's going to the plant hospital, and maybe tomorrow we're going to have, or whatever day we're going to have everybody's going to the doctor.
Yeah. Okay.
It's fine.
Well, keep us posted. Okay.
Yes, I will. I'll take some photos of if I took photos of the carnage of just like you would be like, oh, it hurts my little plant lover's heart.
Oh yeah, that sucks.
It's pain. It is. And I avoided coming home. I stayed the night at my girlfriend's house, even though she's not even there, because I'm like, I know what I'm gonna go home to. I was scared.
Your worst fears were realized. Well, I get it. I've been there. We were waiting until the Brain Candy Interstellar event at my house was over to do like our big spring seedlings and planting.
Yes.
So we got the big shelf out and the grow lights and we have all of them now growing in the pool room. And
great. I know exactly. I saw the pre-setup for this.
Yeah.
And I was excited when I saw it. I was like, whatever's about to happen here, I am for this. Yes.
Well, for
That's the perfect room for it too.
Yes. Because it's very like sort of temperate and jungly.
Like, yes. And they'll be happy in there.
Right. Yes.
It does feel right.
And once they grow enough, then we'll put them in the garden. But for now, I mean, fuck, we had a fucking frost this morning.
Oh, right.
Fuck you, Mother Nature. I hope you suffer because I'm sick of your shenanigans.
They are shenanigans. You hear that, weather?
Hear it?
We've had enough.
We have had enough.
Enough of that.
We're blowing
Cut it
the
out.
whistle on Mother Nature and her bullshit.
We see you.
I'm freezing over here. But anyway, hopefully you'll get your ass in order, Mother.
Oh, I thought you were talking about me. And I was like, yes, I will.
And us and me and you and everyone. But anyway, it is fun. Spring is... It's such a hopeful season, isn't it?
It is hopeful. And I'm going to, she's going to hear this, but my girlfriend's in Australia, and I am going to surprise her by refreshing all of her plants, too. Because they all need, and do
I have an orchid at your girlfriend's house. How is she?
It is thriving, Susie.
I would appreciate some photographs.
I will send you. I can't believe you just said that, because I was thinking that this morning. I did like a little refresh and and I did what you told me about, like how to care for orchids, and it
don't fall for that ice cube bullshit, people.
And also, don't leave them in the container. That you have to take all the moss out that was strangling the roots. Take it out, and I put it just in water, and it has bloomed. They all you won't believe it. It's fully like.
I am
like
really
I'm an
happy
orchid
right
farmer.
now. It's funny because I got that orchid when I was there in October.
Yeah,
and we have never talked about her since.
She is
so. This is a real
thriving, and it's the
treat.
only plant at Amy's house that is thriving. So she's very happy. She's in full,
Okay. Well, this is great.
I mean, that's not true, Amy. Your snake plant is thriving as well. Your snake plant is crushing it, and your bonsai tree also crushing it.
Okay.
Cactus is kind of your full help.
Yeah, that's so funny. Those are the easy ones.
Yeah,
she took that too far.
Sometimes they're easy, but then I think people's problem is they care for them a little too much. And so I think there were some leaves that were lost from overwatering.
You have to neglect them.
You have to neglect them a little more. Yeah. But then they need it's a whole thing. So I'm going to give her new soil for the cactus.
No one cares,
I'm going to,
Well,
actually, probably our listeners are probably like, we love plants. We love it. So
I mean, listen, in this time of strife and consternation and acrimony in the world, we have to find joy wherever we can. And for some of us, it is finding life in plants and animals and people and connecting that way. Yeah. Because
connection matters.
That's why I stopped listening to the news. And you know me, I was like super into the news my entire life.
Yep.
Sometimes you have to be like, you know what? That'll do.
Yeah.
And I think that was a good choice.
Yep. Suze, I did the same.
No, thanks. Because I read it still. I just don't want to listen to it.
I don't want
to see it or listen to it.
I remember that. I was like, oh, I tried that and it was a bad week. And okay, you know what? We're not going to do that anymore.
We'll just stick to plants.
Yeah.
Okay.
Get my news from Wait, Don't Tell Me. Thanks very much.
Okay. Now, okay. So later in the show, we will be having a guest who is Dr. Sabrina Romanoff, who is a clinical psychologist and also doll baby and beauty queen. Maybe she is. I don't really know, but she looks like one. And we're going to be talking to her about the wild world of relationships and dating, specifically online. And
with a bunch of fun data and facts. And I know our listeners love some
nerdy content.
This is it.
I've also heard, go ahead.
With like the context and like with, it's like fun, relatable, data.
It's brain candy.
Amen, sister.
I mean, it's not called that for nothing. But right. I also got a text message from Sarah's iPad, which is a Brainiac, whose name is not actually Sarah's iPad, but that's what we call her. And she was at the event. She was at the Interstellar event. She's a candy clubber. She's a hoot and holler. We love her so much. And I don't know what we had talked about on a recent episode, but apparently it was something that made her think we need to set her up on a date with somebody or dates. Yeah. Like potential partners. And this has been floated across our desk, as you would say. Yeah. Many a time. And we've always been like, we should do that. But like, we actually should.
I would love to set Sarah's iPad up to be matchmaker for...
What's it called? Yenta?
Oh, I'm going to get hella Yenta up in here.
For real, we would be so good at this.
Oh, please. We are that.
What cracked me up about her text was just sort of like, when she initially said it, I was just like, kind of like, LOL, that'd be a hoot. And that was it. Kind of like, good one.
Yeah.
Right? And then she's like, yeah, worth a shot. But then a few hours later, she sent me a list of criteria.
Okay. Let's hear it.
Which I thought was so great. Okay, she said a couple of requirements.
Yeah,
I had not committed to anything at this point.
I'll commit. I got this.
Okay.
Oh, this is fun.
I haven't actually read it yet, so here, this could get ugly, but we'll see. Look, couple of requirements. Funny.
Okay.
I mean, duh.
I'm in. Hello.
It goes without saying.
It's like you need to say, well, he needs to have a pulse. Yeah, okay.
And she said, thinks I'm funny.
So important. Probably my number one dating criteria.
She said,
Or
I'm
criterion,
kidding, kind of.
No,
Because
no.
we're not. That's actually important.
It's funny that she said that. That shows. So obviously,
right. She's great. She loves live music. Right?
Great.
She loves going to concerts.
Yeah, this is very good.
She went to Coachella,
Yes,
I saw.
Saw that.
Likes to do stuff, i.e. outdoorsy, and can handle social settings, right? So, like, she's wanting to go out every once in a while, enjoy the nature, and also social settings. Don't be weird.
Yeah.
Okay?
She wants somebody who can hang.
Employed. This is low bar lifestyle.
The bar is low.
The fact that you have to
Jesus
say that
Christ.
is just a sad story on our times. And ultimately just really nice and respectful. Oh, right?
That sounds great.
And then she added, if it helps, I generally go for tall, skinny nerds, basically.
Okay.
And I say, same girl, same.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking off the top of my head, and I know you don't live in Pittsburgh, but my high school boyfriend, Ryan J. Miller, he is all those things. So I know he has a girlfriend right now, but if that falls out, then I'll let you know, because they seem like a perfect match. Actually.
She's in Canada. Just anything anywhere north. Okay.
I'm going to ask some follow-up questions. Like, can he have kids? Like those kind of things.
Very important question.
Age.
And here's the I'm going to say, I know all you went. We're going to talk about this, I think, a little more later. But I know all you gals are really hung up on the height thing.
Yeah.
I just want you to entertain the idea of somebody not 6 foot and taller. Just
what are you saying? Be open to it?
Be open to it. If somebody meets all of those things, but they happen to be 5'9", just, you know.
You know what? I don't appreciate your judgment on this, because
No
I know.
judgment.
Yeah.
Just no.
Because
more like I don't want
what's
people
the
to limit that.
tallest woman you would date? 7 feet?
Well, if
How tall? I mean,
if
everybody
there
has
were-
limits here.
Yeah, of course. But if there was
Would
somebody,
you be willing to date a little person?
yeah,
You don't. Oh, that's true. You act like she is not just saying that.
I know. I've dated.
She would date. She said, she would date 30 to 45. She's 34. Okay.
Oh, okay.
This is good to know.
That's great. 34. That's a great range. Yes.
And he can have kids.
Okay. Good.
Ryan J., are you listening?
This is very good.
Oh, he's 46. He's out of her range. Okay, never mind.
Oh, that 1 year. Come on.
Yeah, I want.
1 year.
Let's lie about it.
It's okay.
Let's start off on the wrong.
Start off with lies.
But anyway, okay. I do think like the height. I understand your point. Like you should be open.
Yes.
Outside of your your type.
Just don't let that be the thing that's like the major deal breaker. Like if somebody's really great and checks all those boxes, like go with how you feel. How do you feel when you're with them?
Yeah.
This is
It always
tough.
is a calculus though, because if they are hilarious and smart and successful and kind and blah, 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 and they're just like a little bit different outside of your physical parameters of your normal type, I think most people are like, yeah, all right.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
it's usually more of like, there seems like it feels like a negotiation on a lot of things. And then you start to get into settling territory.
Yeah. We don't want to do that.
No,
We're not
we don't
doing
want to
that.
do that.
No.
We don't want to do that.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
But,
and I think tall is just a thing we say too, because like the only person who was saying I like short guys was like me, who then didn't actually like guys. So I get
You're
that
like,
is
wait,
like
I
a
meant
thing,
women.
right? Exactly. Yeah, it's just so stupid. So yeah, that it's just biology. What do we say? You know.
yeah, it's okay. But like keep an open mind is all we're asking, really. Okay. And then wait, there was something I wanted to say before also we have our guest on. Okay, so we'll touch on this more with our expert, but like I had read this article, I think it was in The Cut, but maybe New York Mag, I'm not sure. But it was an article about how like something we actually talk about, which is like we want cute pics of ourselves to post online, right?
Oh my God.
And from what I'm hearing, I don't have this problem because, my husband happens to be, a picture taker and very good at it.
So good.
But a lot of times women want their partner to take a photo and the ones that they get are.
It's insane.
Okay.
What is like put some every now and then you do get the guy who is into it, who knows like Adam.
Oh yeah, they want you to look.
Yes,
how you
and he's like,
look.
turn this way, that hit, yeah, perfect.
This is the light. We're gonna. Oh, it's so cool.
I love that guy.
It's so nice.
I mean, because I think what it's really saying is we want someone to care. We want someone to, and we understand that this is not important to you. I totally get that you don't give a shit about how this photo looks. So I need them to step outside of themselves and think, what would she want?
She wants to look pretty.
Just put it, and it literally takes like not even a lot of it. Yes, thank you. 30 seconds.
They're usually
2 minutes max.
Holding up the phone like, ugh.
For then us to have, and then if you do get a good photo, we might as well just like have sex with you right there. We're so happy.
Oh my God, so happy.
So or you could take a shitty photo and then in that 2 minutes, and now we're mad at you for the rest of the day. And now nobody's getting laid. Because that's how I felt. I was like, this is how you see me? This is how you see me? In what world do you think I want to be photographed like that? Mm-hmm. Or how about, clean the screen, set move the tissues that are next to me, whatever it is,
It takes so little effort, but for some reason, it is a challenge for most guys, is what I'm understanding. But I did read this article that was making the case that for some men, and I like this, and then I have since realized this to be true.
Okay.
That men will often, they'll take kind of like candid photos of their wives, and that it's because they really like their wives.
Well, fuck. Now that's adorable, and now
that's
I feel like
different though. If I'm asking you to take my picture and I want to look pretty and you know it and you don't care, fuck you.
I'll give you that. Get the candid photo that they like. That's
but they
sweet.
are like, and then if women find out, they're like, don't delete that. I don't. But the men actually really like having like the pictures of their wife in the real way.
Well, I think that should tell us a lot. That is some good information about maybe what we should do in our dating profile and what kind of pictures we should use and what they really are
like
into.
They kind of want to know, like, what do you really like?
Yeah, what's behind the curtain? Like, what's if we take away the, like...
Because you know how I am. Like, I'm not going to Target without a full face, But from what I hear...
Yeah.
These guys like you in a hoodie.
Yeah.
They like you without a full face of makeup.
Yeah.
They like when your hair's all like badoop up on the top or whatever is like you're sort of like
roll out of bed
rushed.
with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it kind of looks like
You look
just
so
had
cute
sex.
when you're, yeah, but
When I what?
you're right. Well, I was going to say, like, when your hair's all like
Out of control.
wake up,
right.
when you wake up,
Yeah.
you look really cute and attractive like that. Like,
Oh my God.
maybe I'm like your partner in that way.
I
like you
because,
like that.
Well, that is really sweet because I think what might be happening is that like I'm like the woman, you are being like the partner like that, because that is when I'm like, oh my God, that I
think
never
it's
look
so
worse than when my
appealing.
hair
That's not true. I mean,
looks like
you
it
always look
feels
beautiful.
Like my whole life is unorganized when my hair matches my life or something like that. And it feels like, oh, but
Maybe it's because you have curly hair and so it gets wild. But it
gets wild.
To me, it looks so pretty and cool and
thank
interesting.
you.
And it's just like fun. You think, okay, that's a fun gal right there.
I should send you some of the photos of what it can look like on some. I'll be like, oh, today? You'll be like, well, maybe not today.
No, I don't think I would. But I'm just saying, given that I know what that feels like,
Yeah.
I think that I can buy into it. And like, I think that's a really beautiful thing when your partner really likes like your
It's
true
the most beautiful
private,
thing.
because it's a private thing.
Yes. Or like if they take a picture of you when you're like taking a nap and looking all cute, like
You always look cute when you're sleeping.
And so does Amy.
I have so many pictures of you sleeping like a fucking
You do have a
psycho.
lot. You are my partner. This is totally that. You're like, oh, look at how cute she looks.
But
like.
it's real. It's real. I love them. It's not. I don't.
So sweet.
I'm not mocking or.
No, I don't think so
Yeah.
at all. Because
Yeah.
they're every time you post any of it, you're always like, look at her napping.
She
Just
looks
look
so
so angelic.
peaceful.
Yeah. Well, and you know what? I was just staying at my mom's house, and my family has a running joke that I didn't know about because I'm always asleep for this, that I fall asleep as soon as we put on a movie. And I didn't know about that joke because I was always asleep.
Right.
But this happened where I would fall asleep on the couch in the living room, and then my mom she'd say every morning, well, I didn't want to wake you because you just look so peaceful. Like you just really look like you are enjoying yourself. And I'm like, well, okay, it makes no
those
difference
are some
to
of the
me.
best sleeps too, when like you fall asleep when you're really not supposed to.
Yeah, and I just love that couch sleep. So nobody ever moves me because I have a look of being very. It's the Pisces
like
thing.
you
They say you
needed
love sleep, and you just,
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. Don't disturb.
Do not disturb. You can just
Yeah.
leave me. Yeah.
But I like that idea, and
I do.
think it speaks to what we'll talk about with Dr. Romanoff, because it's like people we all can use the apps to zhuzh up our pictures, and that's fun too.
Right.
If you want to do that, nothing wrong with that. But I'm just saying that I do think people are craving like the real deal.
Suze, I'm even getting a new, for many reasons, but well, two, because I need to change my last name and because I need a new photo. But I need a new passport photo because I'm going through customs and it's not recognizing me as myself, or I have to go through extra screening because they're like, this doesn't
That's
look like you. It's happened the last like 3 times I've traveled.
Well, you in particular
Chameleon.
like you are one of those people that can look so many different ways.
Like they made me pull up photos from 2019 and pull up photos with my hair straight to show them.
Yeah.
they're
Adam
like,
has
"We
said
don't-"
that you have this really interesting face, like where something about your structure like captures light in ways that changes it.
What is
did.
happening in this episode? This is like, I'm going to leave here like, oh my
happening?
God, I'm going to be the
No.
6 foot tall man after this podcast.
No, but that it's so fun to take he says it's really fun to photograph Sarah because she has a face and the way that her bones are, like you can make her look so many different ways. I'm
thank
sure you
you.
know this about
Yeah,
yourself.
I do know that I can look a lot
Yeah.
of different ways in photos, or like even my own face does it. It's like won't recognize me as myself in photos.
It's like bad and good. I'm
yeah,
sure,
the app
but
is like, the photo thing.
there is nothing
there's like
worse than when my
5 different.
phone is
Oh
like,
my God.
and I'm like,
Who is that?
listen,
Right.
bitch.
Yeah.
You are going to recognize me. Do you want to use your passcode? No.
Yes. There was one night where I like had a cry fest and I was crying like all night long. And then, you wake up in the morning with a puffy face. It wouldn't open because it didn't recognize my face because it was too
That is
puffy
sick.
from crying.
That's like the digital version of like my jeans don't fit anymore.
Yeah. I was like, I've been crying too much. I need to splash some cold water on my face before my phone unlocks.
That's something that is interesting to think about, and horrifying.
Yeah.
Okay, but let's bring out our guest, Dr. Sabrina Romanoff, clinical psychologist, and we are going to be talking to her specifically about the Hily Dating App's Truth Report. And I've talked about it previously on the show, but it's basically a survey that the Hily Dating App does to understand, like, what are people looking for, men and women. They look at millennials and Gen Z daters and find out their experiences on dating, their wants, their preferences, their philosophies, their worldview, whatever.
Some patterns that they're seeing that maybe were unexpected.
Yes. And we've talked about Hily before because they are the app that has the consent guard, which we freaking love. And this is like, if you're somebody who wants to date, but you don't want, they will
Pics,
protect
messages, anything that unwanted, anything stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And so then you tell them, and then you're not going to get anything that you haven't said, yeah, I'm into that. And that's like, it shouldn't actually be a big deal, but I've never heard of it.
It's creating a safe environment. It's kind of like going to a bar that's really sketchy and dangerous versus going to, I don't know, a coffee shop.
I didn't know this. I just found out Hily is it like basically an acronym for Hey, I Like You.
So cute.
It's so cute. I never knew that. And anyway, so I just like the way they do their setup, which is why we work with them. And so when I met with them and was learning about their truth report, I was like, there were so many questions that I had, even though I'm not, in that world. It's just fascinating. People's relationships.
It's relationships and connection and people and our habit. That is that's our bread and butter over here.
Let me read one. I'll just read one just for funsies. Okay, what do you think about this? 1 in 3 Gen Z females and 1 in 5 of male daters feel like social circles make them believe that their dating life must be approved by others.
Oh, man.
So, like, in addition to finding someone that they're compatible with, they feel like this pressure of like, all these other people are going to be assessing whether I've done the right thing. That's a lot.
Yeah, and that's saying that I have to make all these other people happy as well.
If you're single, or if your friends are single, tell them that you can download that Hily Dating App and have a look for yourself. Yeah. See what you think. Download Hily Dating App from the App Store or Google Play, or visit Hily.com. That's spelled HILY.com. Date as you are with Hily Dating App. HILY. Okay, let's welcome to the show the lovely Sabrina Romanoff. Okay, welcome to the show. Glad we harassed you into coming over because, listen, Sarah, we've been working with Hily for ages and like we're big fans. And then I got wind of the Hily Truth Report, which is all that data, which I talked about in a previous episode because it is a hoot and holler to read. But it's also just really fascinating to understand like what it's like out there in the dating world. So now we have an expert. Welcome to the show. Yes. We're going to harass you all the time. I hope you can handle it.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here with you both.
We're going to have fun because, I mean, for real, the data is... Did it surprise you when you went over it, or were you like, oh, yeah, this is what I thought it would say?
I think I've been hearing a lot clinically in my therapy practice of how exhausted people are with dating. I'm seeing it, in algorithms, so like in all these echo chambers of how stressful dating can be, and the data backs that up in a very clear and concise way.
Yeah. Sarah, is that what you felt? I'm sure it was just like reinforcing, right?
But I think there's a difference when you are looking at the data versus when you're in the dating world. Because I think it's one of those things, like, I remember when I was in undergrad and they would talk about these studies on like our mind thinks. We would think, oh yeah, I love a abundance of choices. That is what I really like. I always call it the fine dining versus Cheesecake Factory menu. We always think, oh, I'd love a Cheesecake Factory menu with all the options and blah, 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 blah. When really we're more satisfied and happier when there are fewer options. So sometimes the things that we think are so different, and we're certain, like, yeah, data would show I like more choices. Well, actually, what you think you want and what your brain actually wants, different. So I think that sometimes that can happen when you're in the world of dating. You kind of forget about the statistics and forget about the I don't know, the truth.
Yeah, I guess.
Absolutely.
Right? Is that Sabrina? That's what you feel too, right?
Yeah, I think, Sarah, you're talking about like the paradox of choice and how it's so overwhelming to have all these options. And you said something else too that I love, that like it's one thing to feel a certain way about dating when you're in it. It's another way to see the data from the outside. And I think so many times we conflate like our value of who we are as people with our dating success or our dating lives. And there's so much shame around that, I've been finding.
That is a really good point. And when I hear from people who are out in the jungle of the dating world, well, I should say women, because that's who I'm talking to. I mean, there's almost like a despair, a sense of like, I just want to find a nice person, right? To share
The men
my
are
life.
saying the same thing.
Okay, they are?
In my experience, the ones I talk to.
I hate this for them.
And they both have in my experience, men have an idea that women want a certain thing that they feel like they are not or can't live up to, and women feel the same way. Of I'm not valuable because I'm not whatever, like living up to some unrealistic expectation. Yeah, whatever. And if both people are feeling like, both people out there in the world are feeling like, man, if only I could be a little more. I feel like we need to look at that and say, why don't we just realize that you're okay where you are and work on that?
Absolutely. I think it also speaks to the term, which I really dislike on social media, that was trending, high value man or high value woman.
I hate it. I hate it just so much.
Because what does a low value woman or man even mean?
Susie, you're
everywhere.
the one who introduced me to looks maxing, and that guy who was
is that where that comes from?
Yeah, that there's this that certain attributes, characteristics, whatever it is, or what you have, or all of these really external factors, things that I always think like 80-year-old me wouldn't care about, are things that people are assigning as like, you're high value if, like, for example, you're over 6 feet tall, and a guy that's to me bullshit. Because by whose
it's like superficial stuff
rubric?
Where, so like, do people talk to you about it? Are you seeing it on social or what, Sabrina?
So I'm seeing it everywhere, but I think what you're speaking to is this orientation towards what looks good on the outside. And I think just social media, like us being more isolated, we are seeing a trend towards more narcissistic traits, or like less focus and connection on what things actually feel like when we experience them versus the optics of it. And like choosing a partner based on how they look on paper or how they look on the outside, or how they kind of add to our sense of validation or sense of self-worth versus what it's actually feeling like to be with this person for 50, 60 years. And I think that's why so many people, one, struggle to get into relationships, but two, they're super unhappy once they do find that relationship that might look good from the outside.
It's worrying too much about what others or what society or the outside looking in will think of this relationship, not how you as an individual feel in that relationship. That's devastating. That to me is very, and it's very relatable, because I feel like that was my first marriage. Wouldn't you agree, Susie?
Yeah, so it was like what you thought you were supposed to want.
Absolutely. I chose a partner who makes a lot of money, dresses well, is very charismatic, is really like everybody else is like, oh my gosh, you'd be so lucky to be with him, took me on nice trips, blah, blah, blah. I never felt like less of myself than when I was in that relationship.
I hear that all the time because...
Is the...
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, sister, you go. You're the boss.
I wonder too, like, just of what it's like and how confusing that must be to be doing something that looks good from the outside and something that you've been told for so long, this is what will make you happy, like this is the path to success, versus it feeling so empty on the inside. And I think it speaks to how strongly we're trained to just abandon our needs, to disconnect from our needs, when it means like getting the thing from the outside to look good or securing relationships outside of ourselves. I think that's what Hily's Truth Report highlights. It's something we found that we call the dating reality disconnect, which is really the gap between what we think dating should look like, or relationships should look like, and then what they actually are. And that gap is shaped by everything we're constantly exposed to that's creating these very high upward social comparisons, like social media or your conversations with your friends about their relationships or the group chats. And basically it creates this idea that everyone is just doing it better than you are.
What's the remedy? I mean, how do we get more realistic about what dating is? It's really freaking hard because, like, I mean, we were talking a little bit about this before we started, but you know, kids are getting a lot of messages from, like you said, social media, porn, things like that, about what a relationship looks like. It feels like the early messages we get are very incorrect, and then we have to spend a lot of time unlearning those and developing new ones, and it's usually after some hard relationships and
Yeah,
trouble.
After the pain, hopefully comes a lesson, or the lesson will keep on repeating until we can really understand it or internalize it. And I think that's what I love about the Hily report. It's showing that people are really craving something different, and it's cyclical. People are going from that performance mindset to authenticity, and we're seeing it on so many different levels. Like with Coachella, Justin Bieber's performance, it was so raw and so authentic, and it's just showing what we're craving. We want something that's real and not something that's kind of optimized for an algorithm or something that's like perfect, because that just isn't something that we trust or are really attracted to anymore.
That's such a good point. What a great example too, because there did seem to be a disconnect between how like Bieber fans and even younger people saw that as like really welcome and cool, and then the critics who were like, what's that? Why is he sitting there on a laptop watching YouTube? And there's like incongruity there between like the experiences of those two generations.
That's a really good point. I do see that. Yes. And that those young kids really want that. And think about that with ChatGPT and everything, AI, it's hard to even know, is this text message that I got really authentic and from the person, or is this just like AI slop too?
It's so endearing too to see our parents or people in older generations struggle with that. But I think it speaks to maybe our shift in orientation of what we're attracted to or what we want, what makes us feel connected. We maybe could love like spelling mistakes in text that makes us know
I leave
we're
them.
real.
Now I leave them.
Keep them in.
I'm like, they'll know it's me. Yes. We need more authenticity.
Well, also in the Hily report, I loved, there was some information on what do we call them, Sarah? Like the astrology girlies, the ones that are like, what's your sign, tarot card, like that whole vibe now where it's like Mercury's in retrograde, blah blah blah. And I'm always like, I'm too old, so I'm always like, what's this about? Which you would think I would get it because that's kind of my field is religion, but this seemed like, what is this? But I wondered if you could touch upon like what did the data find in the Hily Truth Report, and why do you think it matters, Sabrina?
Yeah, Susie, I love that idea too, because we're seeing such a big resurgence of that focus. And I think we lean into superstition or these frameworks of thinking as a way to kind of create meaning or hopefully kind of get some control, especially when things feel so unpredictable. And what's more unpredictable right now than dating? I think when dating is confusing, we look towards these very clear frameworks that have a whole lot of rules like astrology or retrogrades to kind of give a narrative to make sense of behavior. Like that's why they pulled away or that's why the timing didn't work. And it's almost like a way of regulating ourselves.
Yes, to be able to kind of use that to explain maybe what happened and the thing, listen, I love a little astrology, like I do.
You're a witchy woman.
I'm a witchy woman and I'm a Pisces, so we be like that. What I have a problem with is when people then say, well, that's how I am, and do
because
nothing
I'm a whatever,
yes,
and so then
right,
that's just
and not like use it as an excuse to not do any growth or any like.
But I do like what Sabrina said about how like it seems like a lot of people, based on the data, are using it as a way of like not personalizing. Maybe when stuff doesn't work out with someone.
Oh well, I like that.
They're being like, you know what, Mercury was in retrograde, so like who cares?
Oh,
and that
keep doing
feels
that.
Good. Yeah,
it feels great. I like anything that's gonna like not personalize it or not. Even if you're just like, oh well, we weren't compatible because
He's a Taurus,
we're both fire signs or what. I don't even know, but that sounds like it wouldn't be compatible. But maybe they are. I have no idea. But yeah,
I once, Susie and Sarah, you're talking about like two extreme ends of the spectrum. And I had a supervisor once say mental health, like the pinnacle of mental health is about flexibility, about yes, and about having both ends of the spectrum. So on one hand, it's saying, okay, this isn't completely all about me. But on the other hand, they're saying, okay, there's maybe some part of me or something that I can learn here, or something I can pivot. Yes. And it's important to hold both. So maybe astrology is almost like this protective net that's saying like, I'm not going to totally absorb the impact of these rejections. It's not all on me, but there is something that I can kind of focus here that hopefully can like push me forward.
Well, and like some of it is just like, it just didn't work. It might be neither person. It just wasn't quote unquote in the stars, right? Like we've used that line forever.
I love that. Like, go with that. It feels like that
it wasn't
sometimes.
In the cards, it wasn't in the stars, whatever. And like, I also love, Sabrina, don't you think that it also points to this sense of like, people are seeking meaning and they're seeking connection. And if that's a tool that provides that, which is like a spiritual, kind of nebulous idea, like there's nothing concrete about it. It's just sort of like vibes, basically. I love that for them.
Absolutely. I think, too, you're speaking to one of the most devastating parts about dating, where people feel like you're either above or below people. And that's kind of like some of the most unhealthy kinds of mindsets, where you feel like, well, they rejected me, so it means they think they're better than me, or I'm not good enough. Versus we just weren't a match.
Right. I talk to clients a lot about this. This is something that, whatever it is, whether it's a relationship, sometimes even friendships can be like this too, where if somebody, we need to stop with the word rejection, because I look at it as like when I go to an ice cream parlor and I pick out chocolate, I'm not rejecting the other flavors. I'm just a chocolate lover. Somebody else is going to go and they're going to be like, ooh, rainbow sherbet is for me. They're not rejecting the chocolate ice cream. So I think of it as like, oh, that I'm just a different flavor of ice cream for them. Or my mom, this was always helpful. My mom would tell me that, because I would have that feeling of like, I guess I'm not enough because my partner broke up with me or because they left, or whatever. And she would say, you're a sunflower and they're a tulip. You don't see tulips growing in fields of sunflowers. You see, and if you put a tulip next to a sunflower, it would probably die because they need different things, and one's going to suck up the edge, whatever. So you just have to find your flowers, and what's 100%. The field I belong in.
It's about incompatibility at the end of the day, and it's not about one person being better or worse than the other. And I think it's hard because we don't always see the incompatibility if the other person is kind of rejecting us, or if they're saying this isn't going to work before we do. But it's just trusting that they saw something that showed this wasn't going to work long term. And it's about trusting that, because ultimately you want someone who's so into you and who really will be there. You don't want someone who's kind of going to drop off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I think,
hard.
unfortunately, when you get rejected, like, you get pull on even harder, or you kind of want to fixate on it. And even though physically they're out of your life, mentally they occupy so much space. And that's really the pivot that I think people need to work on.
It's really hard to tell our brains that there will be somebody else. I see that a lot of this, like, our brain can get stuck. And I even have done it in breakups where I'll think, well, there's nobody else out there. I know. Maybe I'll go through my high school yearbook and see, like, oh, what
It's
about
like
this
that when
person?
you're house hunting, when you don't get the house you thought was like your dream house. And the real estate agent is always like, I promise, there are other ones. And you're like, no, that was the one. And then,
Right.
like, they're always right. There is the one that
There is. Right.
It's
Yeah,
like
but
a
we never
scarcity
believe it.
mindset. I think also people
Yes,
struggle with the
yes.
idea that, like, your life is segmented, especially women, only through your relationships with men. And, like, your life, it's only worthwhile, or it's only really happening in a relationship. And that's the peak. And then when you're out of that relationship, you're in the valley, and it's almost like life doesn't count, or it's not as real. You don't feel as valuable. But I think that's the shift, to say, no, my life is good enough. This is not like the dress rehearsal. This is my full life, and I'm going to make it enough regardless of who's in it or not.
That is that's a hard place to get to
Yeah.
when you're going through maybe the breakup, or when you've been kind of burned in the dating pool, and maybe you feel a little like, oh God, hopeless.
Yeah.
That is the time to focus on you and to do all the things, like, and honestly, when this relationship did not inevitably work out, my ex-husband, we broke up, but we were together for 2 years. Then we moved in together, and it did not go well. Should have taken that as a sign. We broke up, and then I said during that time, I'm like, well, I'm gonna live my best life. This person did. I did everything. Susie and I went on trips. We had so much fun. I think that's when we went to Brazil. Yeah, we went. We had the best time. She helped me write my dating profile that landed me
Yeah, it
a
was
bunch
so
of
fun.
very good dates.
Yeah.
And I was like living for me and rock climbing, and I just started doing all these like passionate like things that I wanted to do in my life. He was like, well, I have to be with her. That was me spending zero time searching for other partners or looking around, and spending 100% of my energy on myself made people way more interested in me. They were like, it's like
Absolutely.
a magnet. You become like this, and it attracts that you want.
It's
Should have said no thank you, I'm going to continue my own pursuit of but when he came
Wise
back around.
Well, it's like that old dating cliche, right? When you're least looking forward, when you least expect it, that's when the relationship will find you. And it's not about the search, it's about the energy you have in that moment.
Yeah.
People read what you're feeling or how you feel about yourself. And that energy, Sarah, sounds like you were so focused on yourself. You were the main character in your story, and you weren't relegating yourself to a side character and kind of waiting for this man, or creating this big space for someone to fill.
And that's hot.
It is hot.
That's hot.
And then what's the worst is, as soon as I get in the relationship,
Yeah. Old
I'm
habits.
yep. That's how I knew that that's when I started to recognize what are healthy and unhealthy relationships for me. When I was like, oh gosh, I am quickly becoming the Robin to somebody else's Batman, rather than, a like equal duo, which is what I wanted.
It's a very
Then I started
hard.
dating women, and it was no problem. So, sorry, guys.
Well, Sarah,
Okay,
I wonder what
Sabrina,
you think about that.
go ahead, sorry.
If you're saying it's like almost culturally sanctioned in order to preserve attachment in like a heteronormative relationship, you have to
Oh my
maintain that
God.
role.
For sure. Absolutely. And I was like playing the part, even just as like somebody who was in a straight relationship, when now I realize it definitely should have been. So much of that was playing a role. So I felt like, if I'm already playing a role, and like, yeah, sure, I can like make myself like this life, but it was inauthentic.
Well, that's what I do love the name of the Hily Truth Report, because what you're describing is there was a falseness to that. And
Yes.
I do love that truth is the operative acronym in that. But I want to talk to Sabrina about one of my favorite sections of their data, which is about men and women and how the survey data, a lot of it, there's some similarities, you know, men and women, they want to find the right person, beep. But there's also these sections where there's a little bit of a gap between like how women answer and how men answer. So I wanted to make sure that we talked about those things, because sometimes I think maybe some of the challenges of dating can be just like you're not speaking the same language or you don't have the same goals or whatever. And so I wondered if there was some things in the data that you thought were notable in that regard, or is like,
Definitely.
we're not on the same page.
Absolutely, in so many different ways. And one of the clearest patterns that we saw is men and women experience pressure in different ways of how they internalize it and then express it outwardly. So, for example, when they're discussing their dating lives with their friends, they saw that it makes 55% of women and 65% of men feel like they didn't get enough dates. So men are reporting a lot of pressure around the quantity, feeling like they're not getting enough. And I think it maybe speaks to like the optics around it, that men's value is often in these very tangible ways, like how much money they make or how many women they're dating. And then when it comes to evaluation, women are showing that maybe they feel more qualitative pressure, like they aren't getting good enough dates. So men, we find...
Wow.
I feel like I've contributed to that. Like being like, those are duds. You deserve better. You know that.
Well, and also I've done the thing where I'm like, I'm just going to say yes to anybody. I did that for a while. Mm-hmm. Who am I to know what's good for me or not? I'll just say yes to whatever date comes, or like just say, I don't know, trying to like.
Two very clear metrics, volume versus standards.
Yeah. And then I did feel like I wasn't dating quality.
That's funny
guys.
though, that like men are putting more importance on the quantity and women are more interested in like substance.
Yeah, I mean, look, like evolutionarily, men need to spread their seed, right? Like get out there, or they're the ones who are traditionally the pursuers. So that means they need to take way more shots. And women, they need to be way more careful because the risks of having sex and getting pregnant means that you might be really stuck with this guy, or you will have long-term consequences. So it's speaking, one, to these like very old evolutionary standards, but also like the pressure that we get externally from our social circles of what it means to be successful in modern dating.
And I did not feel successful when I was just like, whatever. Like, I feel like, man, I am not dating quality.
It speaks to the pressure. It's like women need to catch a really big fish and to bring it home and show to their friends in some ways. And men too, that big fish looks different. Absolutely. Like how beautiful that fish is. And for women, it's like how successful or how much a provider that fish might be.
And then similarly, there was like a gap in perception of the interactions that these folks were having on dates. Like there was a section about compliments, for example, like when the types of things women were hearing and what men were hearing and then how they were perceiving them. It was totally fascinating. I won't do it justice. Sabrina, can you help me?
Yeah, so we found in Hily's report that women are far more likely to receive compliments in a way that feels inappropriate or uncomfortable. And it highlights this gap between intention and the impact of it. And I think how I make sense of the data is like men have no idea what it's like to walk around in a woman's body in this world. You know, we are primed towards Dateline because I think we are so focused on danger, and it's a way to kind of like protect ourselves. Even just going to the grocery store or taking a walk down the street, there is so much threat that we're constantly scanning for. So a compliment that might be intended as flattering very likely could land as objectifying or even unsafe, depending on the tone or the context or even the relationship you have with someone.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That is really interesting. I'm looking at these results.
Yeah.
And it says a whopping 72% of American females, compared to just 12% of male daters, have received compliments on dating apps that felt more inappropriate. That's a huge number.
Huge.
That, like,
We should be more inappropriate.
Well, it
Wait,
speaks
I
to
don't
how,
think that's what we're supposed to take away.
well, it shows how emotionally unattuned the sexes are, or at least men are, to the women that they're complimenting on the apps. Because usually, like, the better route is to maybe make one small shift, like a very small, safe compliment, and then look for the reaction. How is it being received?
Yeah.
And instead, we're seeing people very kind of disconnected, and almost like our love language is how we receive love. So I think men don't get a lot of compliments, and maybe that's why they're kind of throwing it out there in potentially an aggressive way, because maybe that's what they're wanting.
But do you find, Suze, that when you've been, because you and I tend to be very complimentary and like give
we're
hand them out.
fawners.
Yes, we are. And
Yeah, we probably made Sabrina feel
works.
uncomfortable when she
it
came
works
into
on
this
men.
call.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we actually. But I mean, again, we're truth tellers.
Yeah.
But it does. Men are thirsty for compliments, I think, and
Yeah,
they
they
are
do. They love
shocked
it.
when they get them. And I think men need to maybe, here's some advice, change up what you're complimenting. I feel like I've in my dating experience with men, I noticed, I felt like I was going on the like the standard date, when they have a formula. You saw this, Susie.
Yeah.
Especially the guy with the 2-seater bicycle. It felt like, okay, this is the date he takes them on. This is what he says. These are the follow-up text messages. It's so generic and like
It's
a one size
formulaic.
Formulaic. Yes,
Yeah.
that feels like they're not compliments that feel like personal or ones that I actually want to hear, because it's just like copy paste. This is what you do. And they need to get a little better. Maybe think, how can I compliment her on the way she makes me feel? I like that. Or something that's maybe beyond her looks.
Absolutely. And I think it reveals your cards, right? You're complimenting based on potentially what you are most focused on or fixated on, or what you most value. And so I think that's why it could maybe land not so great, because it's saying, wait, so you're saying my greatest value is my appearance or my body, versus, when someone is potentially on guard for being used for their body or their appearance, that might not be something they want to hear, and it could land not in a safe way. So I think that's a great idea of shifting the compliments that we're giving.
Yeah, and I noticed this though, like when fellas will offer what they see as like a generous compliment,
Yeah.
and we like recoil. I mean, they feel hurt and baffled, and so I do think there is like incongruency there, but it's helpful to see the data, so then you're like, oh, okay, we're talking two different languages here, and like,
This
good
would
to
be
know.
fascinating first date conversation.
Totally. They
This
should
is-
bust out the Hily Truth
Dude.
Report.
That would be, and then you could talk,
What
like, think
fun.
about how fun that would be.
That would be so
because
fun.
every single, it opens the door to conversation. You get to say, well, how did you feel about this? What was your experience with this? And the numbers are never like 100% say this and 0% say. So we might have a difference of opinion. You might think one thing, I might
be
think
so
another.
fun.
Whatever. Oh my gosh, I want to
This
assign
is
that
like
as a
an
homework
instant
assignment for
fun
like
date.
first dates. Yeah, instant
Absolutely.
fun date.
Well, Sarah, keyword is conversation. I think that's the biggest part here. That's what creates tension when we are on different sides of the aisle, versus like absolutely polarizing and kind of shutting down and feeling so turned off and angry. And unfortunately, those angry takes are what takes off and what becomes so viral. But I think it's so important to instead say, wait, like that offended me, or that didn't totally land so well. Let me explain to you why. It's about really like teaching people how we want to be treated, instead of just completely writing them off, which I think people are way too quickly to do.
I love that. And I think it's true. Like a lot of times I do think we eliminate a conversation about like, oh my gosh, like let's recalibrate and let me give you the scoop, and then it's no problem. I think a lot of people are open to it. They just didn't know.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
They need to know.
Okay.
Absolutely. It's about also sometimes it's easier to hit like the reject or the next button than actually invest the time in saying, wait, this was my need. This is kind of the part of me that got hurt by this. Because it's very vulnerable to do that. But I think there's a lot of reward that comes on the other side. And even if it's not in that relationship, it's us learning we can advocate, we can speak about our needs in a way that can make us feel more understood.
Yeah.
Sarah, you touched on this earlier, but I got to admit, it is one of my favorite parts about the Hily Truth Report, which is about, there's an entire section about how obsessed women are with tall dudes.
I am looking at it right now.
It's a hoot and holler because what is wrong with us, number one?
Well, I think a big thing to point out, and you tell me, Sabrina, there's
nothing wrong with us.
The studies talk about young female daters.
Oh,
and
yeah,
I
millennials,
wonder
Gen Z.
how it changes for somebody older, because I feel
You've
like
seen it all, baby.
you know, I always like to play at the end. What do you think when you're 80 years old? Okay, I'm 80 years old. What do I care about? And am I like, oh, I am so glad I'm married to a tall man? That would not even be on my list in the first 100 things. If I'm 80 years old and we've been together in a happy marriage for like, you know, however long, 50 years, I don't think that couples saying, well, I'm just so happy in my relationship because he's tall.
Sarah, I love that 80-year-old reference. It's such a great way to recalibrate to what actually matters. This is one of my favorite parts of the Hily Truth Report because it's showing how height is an example of how attraction is shaped by super old, like ancient evolutionary cues, and also what those cues mean to social signaling. So historically, height is something that was associated with protection and strength and then ultimately status. So it's almost like a shorthand heuristic for security. But culturally, that status signal has been amplified. So height is very much now symbolic, not just of like physical protection, but also of like, this is maybe the best potential partner in the mate pool. And then I think we're seeing people kind of over-index on this very visible trait because it makes decision-making a lot easier in a complicated system. So like an example is in like psychology doctoral programs, there's a match process and you're competing with other A+ students and everyone has a perfect resume. And so they create this point system, which is pretty like arbitrary, but it gives you some kind of system to weed people out or to kind of rank people. And that's what we do in dating. We make an arbitrary system, even though it doesn't actually relate to the values that our 80-year-old self would maybe choose.
Yeah, and listen, Sarah, we're not doing it on purpose.
I know. Hey,
Okay.
I married a guy who was 6'2" and thought that he was maybe taller. I always underestimate how tall they are, and then they're always like, "That I'm taller than that." But
I don't think there's a calculus like that. It's just sort of like your eyes do that like cartoon like heart thing that pops out in Looney Tunes, where you don't. It's not like you think, "Oh, he's tall, I like him." It's just sort of like hubba hubba.
Or your brain's doing like what Sabrina said, doing it so fast of like it's a shortcut. It's like this means this.
Absolutely.
This means provider. This means safety and security or whatever. He could pick me up. I don't know. It's a weird one. Women love that shit.
Well, it speaks to attraction and how misunderstood it is for us. Attraction is either he is a provider in those very physical, tangible ways, or maybe he's replicating this pattern that I had as a kid. He's really resembling my unavailable early caregiver, and there's something super attractive to that, even though it's very painful. Familiar, yes.
Yes. Yes.
And is that really who we choose as a partner, or is it just really the hope at getting something different that we never got as kids?
Man, do we try that for a long time. That takes a while to figure out if you have any sort of attachment injury, any sort of attachment wounds from the past, and oof.
What's bonky though is that like if you go through the data, which I encourage everyone to do on the Hily Truth Report, but like basically young female daters were willing to overlook all kinds of insane things, like whether they had a job.
Or like even any information in his bio at all.
And so that, I do wonder though, how does that make sense, Sabrina, where like if you had to theorize? So if we're to understand that in part the tall thing is representative evolutionarily as like this is somebody who is going to take care of me, but they don't have a job.
Right.
How does
that
our
doesn't
brain?
Right.
But we do, I guess. I don't know.
It's the biology
Is
thing.
it?
It's absolutely the biology thing. It shows how these traits are proxies for other qualities that we don't often call into question. We don't question our heuristic, our very quick kind of assumption maker. And instead, we're not looking at what's underneath that. So I think it speaks to if he doesn't have a bio, if he's not even filling out answers, but he's tall, maybe he's confident or maybe he's super desirable. But no, if we take a deep look like underneath that layer, maybe he just isn't very thoughtful, or maybe he isn't very like invested in the dating process. So it speaks to how important it is to really slow down when we're looking through these profiles and really see, is this someone who's going to show up in the way that I need or in a way that feels good from the inside, not just what they look like on the outside.
Oh, man. It is easier said than done when it's so fast that I like that you say we have to slow down. You have to give, and maybe don't go to the extreme like me where you're saying yes to everybody and taking any date, but read through a profile. How does it make you feel? How does this person that you were just had an interaction with, like, how do you feel afterwards? Mm-hmm. Do you
Absolutely.
read that and
doing
feel
that
calm?
emotional check-in.
Yes. Or do you
100%.
feel like sometimes I think we confuse, like, well, always. It's like attraction or like I'm hot for this person with this is the right person for me. Mm-hmm. It's like infatuation and arousal. That's the word I'm looking for.
Desire.
Yes. Arousal and desire, and that is very biological. And that could make us see, I've heard it referred to, this was many years ago, but I don't know where I heard this, somewhere, so long ago. They called it the George Clooney, John Cusack dilemma or whatever, where women at certain times of their cycle would be attracted to the John Cusack type who's more caring and kind and the funny guy, and then at other times would be attracted to the George Clooney type. And you even see this in like Who's the Leading Man in movies, that it goes through cycles where like for a year or so it'll be the John Cusack type,
like
and then
Brad
we're like,
Pitt,
oh no, we're
then
tired of
it's-
that guy, and then we're like, no, we want the big, strong, whatever. So it's like we don't even know what we want day to day.
Yes.
We got to really like take a step back and do some, I don't know, processing or asking ourselves how we really feel.
Well, you're saying it's almost like cyclical, and I've actually noticed this with some patients in my practice. At first, they'll date the bad boy, and then they might say, never again. And then they date the good guy, and then that feels boring, or they feel like they're not really connected, and then they cycle back. So it's really about sometimes like trying the buffet, like different types of people and relationships, different levels of emotional safety and stimulation, to finally say, okay, now I'm going to order off the menu. Now I actually know exactly what I'm looking for.
Yes. You have to order off the menu. That's the important thing. Can't just keep looking. Can't just keep window shopping for them.
What is your sense? I mean, it's sort of like the whole landscape now is so... like, because if I just think about online dating by itself, in the early days of the internet, when someone said they met their partner online, it was like stigmatized and seen as like kind of wacky, and also like maybe even, I don't know, like risky or something. When really that's insane, because if you've ever been to a bar. But I'm just saying, now it's almost seen as like the only way, because that's where we are all the time. We're online. So like, how do you see all of those sort of digital elements informing the way people date and I don't know, their expectations or experiences?
Yeah, I think it's almost flip-flopped, like what you said in the beginning. When dating apps first came on the market, they were stigmatized, and it said something about you. Like, you couldn't cut it in real life, you had to go online instead of in real life. And now we're seeing the opposite. People are very rejection sensitive in real life. People will go even in dating events and they will not speak to the opposite gender. So it speaks to how scared people are and how kind of softened we become to maybe taking those in-person risks, and how much easier it could feel to do it online. But I think we're seeing technology shift how we're relating to people, and even using things like AI in relationships, like what we mentioned earlier, us not trusting our real skills on their own, and instead leaning into apps or something that feels safer, or even AI, something that can craft these relationships or enhance them in some ways.
Right. So it's sort of like, I have to be perfect. That's the expectation. So now, but then it becomes this whole, it's not the real deal. And if people know what they're looking for, you would think they would realize, like, I don't want someone to be phony, so they wouldn't want it. But it's very tempting, I suppose.
I think it's very tempting when you have what appears to be on the surface like the secret sauce of like, this is exactly how you can optimize yourself. Here's the filters you can use to make yourself more beautiful, or here's the AI, the answers you can write, or here's how you can respond to their texts that will make you the best dater. And I think it reflects what Hily's report found, is that we are very tempted to shift into performance versus authenticity in dating, but it creates a lot of like hardness and not real like sense of connection, and really even understanding, who is this person? Are they a robot or not? Is this who they really are?
And Sarah, that reminds me of what you always call. She always says when people go, like, especially like on a first date, they don't send like their true self. You send your representative. Like, you're going to only show maybe like 10% of like your entire personality. And probably that's the right thing to do, let's face it. But like, if that becomes all you shared in every way, well,
you can't tap dance through life. You can't let the representative show up for every date, because then,
it's exhausting.
It's exhausting.
I love that term, though. I think like it's about showing up representative, maybe 90% or like a higher percentage on a first date, and then slowly becoming more yourself, or comfortable being your weird self. And I think dating apps could also be like a tool for that. It's showing in a very clear and safe way, like, here's photos, here's a few glimpses of who I am. And it could be used as a tool in that way to say, okay, now maybe I can broaden my dating pool and see, maybe I could meet more people than I would usually meet in like my daily path.
I found I got a very different, I spent a lot of...
I remember this.
Yep. I did a lot of dating on the apps, and I've always presented like the most polished, best version. Like, I'm putting up my pictures from Susie and my promo photos where I have my hair done and makeup. Anybody who knows me knows I ain't doing that unless like somebody else is paying for it, or like I'm at a wedding and I'm like forced to, and I'm putting up all of those photos, and then feeling all this pressure when it came to the first date, or even photos of things that I would like wanted to show off, of like, oh, look at me doing X, Y, and Z, when it's like something I did like one time, you know. And I'm very adventurous, but I was just putting up like the highlight reel of like, even getting like, I don't wear heels. What am I doing putting on heels for photos for this? So I said, I kind of got to that point where I'm like, I'm matching with all these guys who are very surface level. And then I talked to my therapist, and she was saying, well, what are you leading with? How are you presenting? Are you leading with something that's surface level as well? And fucking A, I was. So I said, no more of that. I'm going to put up the most authentic, like, there's still great photos, but it was like me in a onesie sleeping bag, like suit, drinking wine at a campfire with my Crocs on. And then I got dates that I felt like, wow, I can show up as truly myself.
Appreciate who you really are.
And because I'm advertising in the right way. And then that took away, but more than like what the other person thinks is what I noticed is how it changed how I was on the date. That on that first date, I was like, take it or leave it. This is you're getting overalls. This is who I am. And that freedom made me enjoy the dates more, even if they weren't people who worked out. Like we didn't work out as a couple. I just had more fun. And I also was better at rejecting that, saying like, no, thank you. This isn't the right relationship for me because I was authentic.
I think you're speaking to authenticity, and like attraction is really about you feeling exactly that. Part of it is like what people look like, but so much more is how you feel about yourself and how that can be so contagious. So like you put that out there and you're going to attract it right back. And it sounds so lovely. Like you could be yourself fully. And I think your capacity to love yourself and how you showed up on that date, I think probably made it easier for a lot of people to feel that way about you too.
Good.
I mean, and you're easy to love, Sarah.
Well, I think everybody else out there, we have a lot of listeners who are very easy to love too, and maybe think that, I don't know, they're not doing something right because
it takes a risk. I think what you're speaking to also is that you're competing in this very competitive marketplace where, right, it's almost like dating or like your profile and your photos, even your social media algorithms, it's like a marketplace and it's very much optimized and it's not necessarily real or totally honest.
Right.
It's saying I'm going to make the choice instead to be very much myself, because what is it that I want my 8-year-old self to say at the end of the day? That I caught the biggest fish that looks good from the outside, or I found a really good relationship with someone who actually makes me feel good.
Yes. Yes.
Well, I love the idea of using the Hily Truth Report on a date, but I also just think everyone should check it out. But thank you. I'm so glad we were able to have you on, because the data is one thing, but it's interesting to synthesize it and to understand it in the context of this brave new world that we live in that can feel very scary and overwhelming and can make people feel like I'm never going to find my person or whatever. And I just don't buy that. I always say on the show, there's a lid for every pot.
Yes, there is. Yes, there is.
Are you on social? Do you have handles that you want to share at all?
I do, yes. So I'm on Instagram and my username is Dr. Sabrina Romanoff.
Okay. Everyone should follow her. She's a doll and just so beautiful.
Oh my gosh, you two are beautiful. Inside and out. Thank you so much for having me on.
This was so fun. And
I know, I'm upset. We have to, I could do this for 4 more hours.
I know, it's fascinating. It really is.
Thank goodness I got This Changes Everything. And, and I can talk more about this.
You get to talk about more. Okay, thank you so much for coming on the show. Everybody follow Dr. Sabrina Romanoff on Instagram. Thank you for coming on. You're a doll.
Thanks for having me. Great to be with you both.
That was very fun.
Yes.
I learned a lot. Totally interesting. If you're single, check out and download the Hily Dating App from the App Store or Google Play, or visit hilyhily.com. That's hily.com. Date as you are with Hily Dating App, and check out Dr. Sabrina Romanoff on Instagram.